Life's terrain is rugged, often shifting beneath our feet with little warning. Yet there are those rare souls who navigate its unpredictability with quiet strength and grace. They are not immune to challenges, nor do they control every twist of fate. Instead, they have learned to trust the ebb and flow of existence, finding peace in the unknown. For mentally strong people, embracing uncertainty is not a matter of choice, but a necessity. They understand that life is a river with bends they cannot foresee, yet their strength comes from their ability to wade through it, not to resist its current. In the vast tapestry of life, certainty is a rare and often fleeting experience. Most of us seek it, clinging to the hope that tomorrow will be predictable. Our plans will unfold as envisioned, and the outcomes we desire will manifest without interruption. But life, with all its complexity and wonder, seldom cooperates with our desire for stability. Instead, it's a river that changes course, a wind that shifts without warning. To embrace uncertainty is to release the illusion of control and learn to dance with the unknown, a skill that requires trust, courage, and a deep acceptance of the present moment. To truly live, one must recognize that life's unpredictability is not a flaw, but a feature. Uncertainty is woven into the fabric of our existence, shaping not just events, but the very essence of who we are. The unknown can be intimidating because it confronts us with possibilities beyond our control, but it also offers us a path to discovery, transformation, and wisdom. In embracing uncertainty, we step beyond the confines of what is known into a space where we can grow, adapt, and experience life in its fullest form. This openness is not a passive surrender, it is an active engagement with the mystery of life, a willingness to face what may come without needing it to conform to our expectations. Fear of the unknown is a natural instinct. It's hardwired into us as a means of self-preservation. But when we allow this fear to dominate, we construct barriers that keep us from exploring life's possibilities. We close off, narrowing our vision to what feels safe and certain. This grasping for security can stifle us, robbing us of the chance to experience the vastness of life's offerings. For those who can let go of this grip, uncertainty becomes not a source of anxiety, but a gateway to freedom. When we are not bound by the need for things to turn out a certain way, we can respond to each moment as it arises with clarity, flexibility, and insight. Life, in its fluidity, becomes an ally rather than a force to be resisted. Embracing uncertainty also invites us into a deeper relationship with ourselves. In moments when outcomes are unknown, we are forced to turn inward, to connect with our intuition, and to trust our ability to navigate whatever may come. This self-trust, however, is not built overnight. It requires an acceptance of our own imperfections, a recognition that we cannot always predict how we will respond to life's challenges, and an understanding that this is part of our shared human experience. In acknowledging our vulnerability, we become resilient, as we learn that true strength lies not in knowing, but in being willing to face the unknown with an open heart and mind. There is a profound beauty in the act of surrendering to life's mysteries. As we stop resisting the unknown, we begin to see life with fresh eyes. Each moment holds a potential we may not have noticed when we were busy trying to plan, predict, and prepare. Life unfolds in ways we could never have imagined, and often it is in these unexpected turns that we encounter moments of joy, love, and insight. We come to understand that these gifts could not have been scripted or foreseen. They arose precisely because we allowed life to surprise us. In this way, uncertainty becomes not a threat, but a source of wonder and awe. Our journey through life is one of transformation, and change is an inherent part of that process. Embracing uncertainty allows us to flow with these changes rather than being disrupted or overwhelmed by them. When we understand that every change, even those that seem difficult or unwelcome, has the potential to teach us something valuable, we begin to trust in the wisdom of life itself. We realize that growth often occurs in the space between the known and the unknown. Just as the caterpillar must go through the unknown darkness of the cocoon to become a butterfly, we too must pass through uncertainty to reach new stages of understanding and being. To embrace uncertainty is also to accept that we cannot know everything, nor can we control all that happens to us. There is humility in acknowledging the limits of our knowledge and influence. This humility is not weakness, it is the basis of wisdom. It opens us to listen, to observe, and to learn, rather than rigidly clinging to what we think we know. In doing so, we become more receptive to the richness of life's experiences, understanding that even in uncertainty there is a deeper order, a rhythm that we may not always perceive but can learn to trust. In a world that often values certainty and definitive answers, choosing to embrace the unknown can feel counterintuitive. But it is precisely this choice that liberates us from the narrow confines of preconception and expectation. We become explorers, navigating life with a spirit of curiosity and openness, able to find meaning and purpose, even in circumstances that we did not anticipate. This way of being requires courage, a kind of quiet bravery that trusts in the journey itself, rather than fixating on the destination. To embrace uncertainty is to engage fully with life as it is, not as we wish it to be. It is to allow each day to be what it is meant to be, meeting it with presence and acceptance rather than resistance. Life, in all its unpredictable beauty, asks us to let go of the need for guarantees and instead to immerse ourselves in the richness of each moment. And in doing so, we find that uncertainty, far from being an obstacle, is an invitation to live more fully, to experience the wonder of each step on the path, and to grow into the deepest, truest versions of ourselves. Pain is an inevitable part of life, woven into the very fabric of our existence. No one moves through this world without encountering hardship, heartache, or disappointment. Yet for many, pain becomes something to flee from, an unwanted guest we shut out at every turn. We often spend a significant part of our lives trying to avoid or numb the discomfort that comes with it. But within every painful experience lies the opportunity for profound growth and transformation, if only we allow ourselves to learn from it rather than running from it. To truly live is to recognize that pain has a purpose, even when that purpose is not immediately clear. Pain is not here to punish or destroy us, but to teach us, to reveal aspects of ourselves we may otherwise overlook. It forces us to confront our vulnerabilities, exposing the places within us that are tender, raw, and in need of attention. This confrontation with pain is challenging, but through it we gain insight into the depths of our resilience, patience, and strength. We discover the hidden dimensions of who we are, becoming more aware, more compassionate, and ultimately more human. Pain, if we allow it, can be a master teacher, guiding us to understand our true selves. Through suffering, we are stripped of illusions, forced to let go of the superficial masks we wear to protect ourselves from the world. In moments of loss or heartache, we often feel exposed and vulnerable, but this vulnerability is where real growth happens. When we can sit with our pain, facing it with courage and openness, we start to peel away the layers that shield us from our inner truth. We come to see parts of ourselves that may have been buried or hidden, gaining clarity and insight that would not have been possible in the comfort of unchallenged living. Learning from pain requires that we embrace it as part of the human experience rather than seeing it as a deviation from it. Society often promotes the notion that happiness is the ultimate goal, an ideal state to be achieved and maintained. But a life devoid of suffering would be a life devoid of depth and understanding. It is through the contrast of joy and sorrow that we truly appreciate each state. Pain acts as a reminder of what matters most to us, highlighting the things we cherish and the connections we hold dear. When we face loss, for example, it illuminates the value of love and connection, urging us to hold the people we care for closer and to approach life with greater gratitude. In our discomfort, we are often driven to question ourselves, our beliefs, and the choices we have made. Pain invites introspection, encouraging us to examine the decisions that may have led us to where we are. This reflective process can be transformative, helping us realign with our true values and guiding us toward a more authentic way of living. In learning from pain, we begin to make wiser choices informed by the wisdom that suffering imparts. We learn not to repeat certain patterns, to seek what truly nourishes us rather than what merely distracts. This evolution is one of the gifts of pain, as it helps us become more intentional in how we move through the world. It is tempting to numb ourselves to pain, to turn to distractions that provide temporary relief from suffering. But avoiding pain only prolongs it, trapping it within us like a wound that never heals. When we turn away from pain, we deny ourselves the chance to fully heal, to allow our experiences to make us whole. Healing does not mean erasing pain, it means integrating it, letting it shape us in ways that build resilience and inner strength. Each scar is a testament to our journey, a reminder that we have faced the trials of life and emerged stronger on the other side. By facing our pain, we also develop empathy for others. Having felt sorrow, we recognize it in others and respond with compassion rather than judgment. Pain, in this way, becomes a bridge connecting us to others, fostering a sense of shared humanity. Our own struggles allow us to relate to the struggles of others, to understand that suffering is a universal experience that transcends individual circumstances. This awareness opens our hearts, enabling us to support others on their journeys while finding meaning in our own. Pain teaches us to let go, to release the things we cannot control. Often suffering arises when we cling tightly to our expectations, our desires, and our sense of how things should be. In moments of loss, disappointment, or failure, we are reminded that life operates on its own terms, indifferent to our demands for certainty or predictability. By learning from pain, we come to accept the ebb and flow of life, finding peace in the impermanence of all things. We learn to appreciate what we have while we have it, understanding that nothing is guaranteed and that everything is subject to change. The pain reveals our strength, showing us that we are capable of surviving, adapting, and growing even in the face of adversity. It teaches us that we are resilient, that we possess an inner fortitude that remains steady even when the ground beneath us shifts. In learning from pain, we uncover our potential, discovering that we are more than we thought we were. This realization empowers us, filling us with a quiet confidence that can only come from having faced the darkness and emerged wiser, kinder, and more whole. Pain is not an enemy to be defeated. It is a companion on the journey, a force that shapes us, challenges us, and ultimately helps us become our truest selves. Each experience of suffering, if we are open to it, offers the potential for wisdom, compassion, and personal transformation. In learning from pain, rather than avoiding it, we allow life to touch us deeply, opening ourselves to the richness of every moment, the fullness of every emotion, and the possibility of a life lived with courage, depth, and grace. In life, many things will happen that lie beyond our control. Situations will arise, people will behave in unexpected ways, and challenges will come unbidden. Yet, amidst all this, one thing remains firmly within our grasp: how we choose to respond. The choice of our reaction is one of the most powerful freedoms we possess. It is the lens through which we experience the world, a reflection of our inner state, and a profound declaration of who we are and who we aim to be. The strength to choose our reactions wisely is not a skill learned overnight. It is cultivated over time, a form of inner mastery that reveals itself in moments of tension, disappointment, and even joy. Reacting is often our first instinct when faced with something that unsettles us. Anger, frustration, or impatience can flare up, urging us to respond quickly, almost reflexively. However, the wise understand that immediate reactions are rarely the most constructive. Often, when we respond in haste, we speak or act in ways that we later regret. In that brief moment between stimulus and response lies the opportunity for a wiser choice. This pause is small yet profound, and within it we can choose not to be carried away by the tides of emotion. Instead, we can breathe, observe, and ask ourselves what response truly aligns with our values and intentions. The power of choosing our reaction lies in the understanding that we do not have to give in to every emotional impulse. Emotions are natural and necessary, but they do not have to control us. By becoming aware of them as they arise, we can step back and observe rather than being swept up in their force. This requires self-awareness, an ability to recognize the signs of anger, hurt, or disappointment within ourselves, and to understand the triggers that lead us there. When we cultivate this awareness, we gain a measure of control over our reactions, allowing us to respond in ways that reflect our higher self, not our immediate frustrations. Choosing our reactions wisely also means recognizing that not everything requires a response. Some situations demand a reply, while others may best be met with silence or understanding. When we feel pressured to respond to every slight or provocation, we give others undue power over our inner peace. By choosing to disengage from certain conflicts or confrontations, we preserve our energy and keep our focus on what truly matters. There is a strength in this restraint, a quiet confidence that comes from knowing we are not at the mercy of others' actions or words. It is not a matter of suppressing our feelings, but of discerning when our response will serve a constructive purpose. In learning to choose our reactions, we also realize that every situation can be seen from multiple perspectives. When something upsetting occurs, it is easy to see it only from the viewpoint of our own hurt or frustration. However, by stepping back, we can try to view the event through a broader lens. This may mean considering the other person's perspective, or even acknowledging that there are factors beyond anyone's control. This act of perspective taking opens us to a wider understanding, helping us to respond with compassion rather than anger. It invites us to question our assumptions and see beyond the limits of our immediate experience. There is also wisdom in responding in ways that nurture rather than damage relationships. Every word we speak and every action we take carries weight, leaving an impact on those around us. When we respond harshly or impulsively, we may inadvertently harm relationships that are important to us. Choosing our reactions carefully allows us to communicate with clarity and respect, even in moments of disagreement. It does not mean we suppress our feelings or avoid addressing issues, but rather that we express ourselves in ways that build rather than break bonds. By doing so, we strengthen our connections with others, fostering relationships grounded in mutual respect and understanding. Furthermore, the way we respond to difficult situations is a reflection of our character. Life will inevitably bring moments of loss, disappointment, and even betrayal. These are the times that test our inner resilience and the values we hold dear. When we choose to react with dignity, patience, or forgiveness, we uphold our commitment to those values, demonstrating not only to others but to ourselves the strength of our principles. Each moment we choose our reactions with care, we reinforce our integrity, shaping our character one decision at a time. Choosing our reactions wisely is also an act of self-compassion. It is a recognition that we deserve to protect our peace, to choose responses that leave us feeling whole rather than fractured. Reacting impulsively, especially in anger or frustration, often leads to regret and self-blame. By responding thoughtfully, we safeguard our inner harmony, allowing ourselves to move forward without the weight of remorse. This kindness toward ourselves is not selfish, it is an essential part of well-being, enabling us to live in alignment with our true selves. In moments of difficulty, choosing our reactions also grants us a sense of empowerment. While we may not control external events, we have full authority over our inner world. This knowledge is liberating, a reminder that our happiness and peace are ultimately in our own hands. When we choose our reactions with intention, we claim this power, refusing to let circumstances dictate our state of mind. We become the authors of our own experience, shaping our reality through conscious choice rather than unconscious reaction. The journey of learning to choose our reactions wisely is a lifelong practice, a continuous effort to align our responses with our values, our intentions, and our desire for inner peace. Each time we pause, reflect, and respond with care, we strengthen this habit, allowing it to become second nature. In this way, choosing our reactions is both an art and a discipline, a path to a life lived with purpose, grace, and profound self-respect. Life presents us with many circumstances, both joyful and challenging, that we cannot control. Events unfold around us, people come and go, and situations often take unexpected turns, despite our best efforts to steer them in the direction we want. At times we may find ourselves wrestling with circumstances, trying to impose order where there is none, seeking certainty in a world filled with unpredictability. Yet the very effort to control the uncontrollable leads to frustration, anxiety, and a sense of inner turmoil. True peace arises when we learn to release the things beyond our control, recognizing that it is in letting go, not in clinging, that we find freedom. Letting go of control does not imply passivity or a lack of ambition. It means accepting that life is full of variables that are simply beyond our reach. This acceptance requires humility, as it asks us to acknowledge the limits of our power and to trust in a process that we cannot fully understand. It invites us to stop wasting energy on efforts that will not yield change and to instead focus on the aspects of life where we can make a meaningful difference. By releasing what we cannot control, we reclaim that energy, redirecting it toward our growth, our purpose, and our well-being. One of the greatest illusions we face is the belief that with enough effort we can bend reality to fit our desires. We often try to control outcomes, people, and even the thoughts and perceptions of others, hoping to mold the world around us into a shape that aligns with our expectations. Yet people will act as they choose, events will unfold in ways that defy our predictions, and life will rarely follow the script we've written. This is not a flaw in the universe, but a reminder of life's inherent unpredictability. In clinging to the need for control, we set ourselves up for disappointment, resisting the natural ebb and flow of existence rather than flowing with it. Learning to release what we cannot control also means embracing uncertainty. The unknown can be a source of fear, but it can also be a source of wonder and opportunity. When we release the need to control every outcome, we open ourselves to possibilities we might never have considered. We allow life to surprise us, to reveal paths and opportunities that we could not have anticipated. This openness requires courage, as it involves stepping into the unknown without a guarantee of how things will turn out. Yet it is in this very act of surrender that we often find a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. At the heart of letting go is the practice of acceptance. Acceptance is not resignation, it is a clear-eyed acknowledgement of what is without the insistence that it be different. It is about meeting life on its terms, rather than demanding that it conform to ours. This acceptance brings us a quiet strength, an ability to remain grounded even when circumstances do not go our way. In accepting what we cannot control, we stop resisting reality, freeing ourselves from the mental struggle that arises when we wish for things to be other than they are. We begin to understand that peace is not the result of perfect circumstances, but of an open, receptive heart that can find calm in the midst of change. By releasing control, we also foster resilience. Life will inevitably bring moments of loss, hardship, and disappointment. When we resist these experiences, we add a layer of suffering on top of the pain that is already there. In releasing control, we allow ourselves to feel what arises without judgment or resistance. We learn to move through pain with grace, trusting that each experience, even the difficult ones, has something to teach us. This resilience does not eliminate pain, but it enables us to navigate it with compassion and understanding, finding strength in our ability to adapt rather than break under pressure. Releasing control also allows us to be present. When we are fixated on controlling outcomes, our attention is often directed toward the future or past, consumed by worry over what might happen or regret over what has already transpired. In letting go, we free ourselves from these distractions, allowing ourselves to fully inhabit the present moment. We come to realize that the present is the only place where life truly unfolds. By grounding ourselves here, we can appreciate the beauty of what is finding joy and peace in the simple act of being. This presence is a gift, one that enriches our experience and deepens our connection to ourselves and others. In choosing to release what we cannot control, we also cultivate a sense of trust. Trust in life, trust in ourselves, and trust in the natural order of things. This trust does not mean that everything will always turn out the way we hope, but it reassures us that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. It is a quiet confidence that grows from knowing that we are not defined by external circumstances, but by our inner strength and wisdom. With this trust, we face each moment with openness, no longer feeling the need to manipulate or force outcomes. Releasing control is an act of liberation. It frees us from the exhausting effort of trying to shape the world according to our desires, allowing us to move with the flow of life rather than against it. This freedom brings a sense of ease as we no longer feel burdened by the weight of expectations and disappointments. In letting go, we create space for joy, creativity, and connection, discovering that true happiness arises not from controlling life, but from embracing it fully, with all its mystery and unpredictability. By releasing what we cannot control, we find our way back to ourselves. We remember that our worth is not determined by our ability to influence outcomes, but by our ability to live with integrity, kindness, and courage. In this release, we are not giving up. We are choosing to live in harmony with the world as it is, discovering that in letting go, we find a peace that cannot be shaken. Self-reflection is one of the most powerful tools for personal growth, yet it is often overlooked or misunderstood. To pause and look within is not a passive act, but a courageous journey that requires us to face ourselves honestly, shedding the filters and defenses that protect us from deeper truths. By looking inward, we gain insight into our thoughts, motivations, and actions, uncovering the patterns that shape our lives. Through this process, we create space for transformation, moving from reaction to intention, from mere existence to a life of purpose. The practice of self-reflection begins with curiosity about our own experiences, reactions, and desires. It is easy to move through life on autopilot, responding to situations as they arise without examining the thoughts and emotions driving us. But when we step back and ask why we think, feel, or behave a certain way, we open a door to self-understanding. This inquiry is a bridge between who we are and who we aspire to be. By observing ourselves, we can recognize the habits and beliefs that hold us back, giving us the opportunity to make conscious choices rather than being led by unconscious patterns. Self-reflection invites us to look beyond our immediate reactions, exploring the roots of our emotions. When we experience anger, fear, or jealousy, it can be tempting to dismiss these feelings or project them onto others. But if we ask ourselves what is truly at the heart of our emotions, we often discover layers of meaning beneath the surface. Anger, for instance, might reveal unmet needs or boundaries that need reinforcing. Fear might point to insecurities or unresolved wounds. By understanding the underlying causes of our emotions, we become less reactive and more compassionate, not only toward others, but toward ourselves. This compassion fosters growth, allowing us to approach life with greater empathy and wisdom. Growth through self-reflection also requires us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves. It can be challenging to recognize aspects of ourselves that we may not like, such as moments of selfishness, fear, or pride. But growth is only possible when we are willing to face these parts of ourselves with honesty. Rather than judging or shaming ourselves, we can approach self-reflection with an attitude of acceptance, acknowledging that these qualities are a part of the human experience. In doing so, we free ourselves from the need to be perfect, allowing room for learning and improvement. Self-reflection helps us recognize our strengths as well as our areas for growth. Often we focus on our perceived flaws or shortcomings, overlooking the qualities that make us unique and capable. By reflecting on our past accomplishments, moments of resilience, and instances where we acted with kindness or integrity, we remind ourselves of our inner resources. These strengths become our foundation for growth, giving us the confidence to face new challenges with a sense of purpose. Self-reflection is not merely about identifying weaknesses, but about celebrating our own potential and committing to nurturing it. In the process of self-reflection, we also uncover the values that guide us. Many of us carry beliefs inherited from family, culture, or society without questioning whether they truly resonate with who we are. Through introspection, we can examine these beliefs, asking ourselves what we genuinely value. This examination leads us to a more authentic life, aligned with principles that reflect our true selves rather than expectations imposed by others. When our actions are guided by our deepest values, we feel a sense of integrity and fulfillment that cannot be achieved through superficial goals. Self-reflection also fosters mindfulness, an awareness of the present moment and our place within it. By examining our thoughts and actions, we learn to notice how our minds operate, recognizing patterns of judgment, worry, or distraction that keep us from experiencing life fully. This mindfulness brings us into greater harmony with ourselves and our surroundings, helping us respond to each moment with clarity and intention. When we become aware of our habitual thought patterns, we gain the power to shift them, creating mental space that allows for new ways of thinking and being. One of the gifts of self-reflection is the ability to forgive ourselves for past mistakes. We all carry regrets, decisions we wish we had made differently, words we wish we hadn't spoken. Through reflection, we can revisit these moments, not with blame, but with understanding. Each mistake offers a lesson, an opportunity to grow and make different choices in the future. By accepting our imperfections and viewing our past with compassion, we release the grip of guilt and shame, freeing ourselves to move forward with a renewed sense of self-worth and purpose. In addition, self-reflection allows us to take responsibility for our own lives. When we look within, we recognize that we are the creators of our own experience, that our choices shape the course of our lives. This responsibility can be daunting, but it is also empowering. Self-reflection reveals that while we may not control external circumstances, we have the power to choose our responses, our attitudes, and our actions. This awareness transforms us from passive participants in life to active creators, guiding us toward the life we wish to lead. Self-reflection, however, is not a one-time event, it is an ongoing practice, a commitment to growth that requires patience and persistence. Each day we are given new opportunities to learn about ourselves, to observe our thoughts, and to question our assumptions. The journey of self-reflection is one of continuous discovery, where each insight brings us closer to our authentic selves. As we deepen our understanding, we develop a stronger sense of purpose and direction, grounded in the awareness of who we are and who we wish to become. Through self-reflection, we cultivate resilience, wisdom, and a deep-rooted sense of inner peace. We learn to embrace both our light and our shadow, recognizing that growth is a journey of self-acceptance and self-transformation. This practice leads us to live more intentionally, guiding us to respond to life with authenticity, clarity, and love. In this way, self-reflection becomes not only a tool for growth, but a path to self-fulfillment, enriching our lives in ways that resonate far beyond the self, extending into every relationship, every endeavor, and every moment. In a world where relationships often seem fleeting and shallow, surrounding oneself with authentic connections becomes both a choice and a powerful source of strength. Authentic connections are not just people we casually interact with or those who make us feel comfortable temporarily. They are the people who bring meaning and depth to our lives, who reflect our true selves and encourage us to grow. These relationships have a profound impact, shaping our values, influencing our happiness, and helping us to understand ourselves in ways that we could never achieve alone. When we cultivate connections based on trust, honesty, and mutual respect, we foster an environment where true self-expression and meaningful support can flourish. An authentic connection requires vulnerability, a willingness to show our true selves without the masks we often wear to fit in or please others. This vulnerability is not a weakness, but an essential part of being human. It allows others to see us as we are, and in turn we begin to see others without the layers of expectation or judgment. When we dare to be open, we invite others to do the same, creating a space of trust and acceptance. This mutual honesty allows both people to feel understood and valued, knowing they are seen not for what they can do or provide, but for who they genuinely are. Such connections bring a sense of belonging that enriches our lives in ways that superficial interactions never can. Authentic connections also thrive on trust, which is built through consistency, honesty, and compassion. Trusting another person means knowing that they will respect our boundaries and value our individuality. It is not something that can be forced or fabricated. It develops over time through shared experiences, open communication, and a commitment to mutual respect. Trusting someone with our thoughts and feelings can feel risky, as it involves exposing parts of ourselves that we often guard. But in choosing to trust, we create a bond that withstands the test of time and adversity. This trust becomes a sanctuary where we can retreat from the noise and pressures of the outside world, knowing we are safe to be ourselves. In these connections, there is no need to pretend or perform. We can express our ideas, fears, and aspirations freely, without the need to censor ourselves or put up a front. Authentic friends and loved ones accept us, not in spite of our flaws, but often because of them, as they recognize that these imperfections are part of what makes us unique. This acceptance brings a sense of peace and freedom, as we no longer feel pressured to fit into others' expectations. Instead, we are encouraged to grow in our own way, supported by people who genuinely wish to see us flourish. In their company, we are empowered to explore our potential and confront our challenges, knowing that we are loved and supported unconditionally. True connections are also a mirror, reflecting back parts of ourselves that we may not fully see. Through our relationships, we gain insights into our strengths, our weaknesses, and the values that truly matter to us. Authentic connections encourage us to reflect on who we are and how we interact with the world. They challenge us when we stray from our principles, gently reminding us of the values we aspire to uphold. In doing so, they help us grow, urging us to become the best version of ourselves. This growth does not happen through criticism or judgment, but through encouragement and support, as our friends and loved ones help us to navigate life's complexities with wisdom and compassion. Having authentic connections also brings a sense of grounding. Life is full of uncertainties, and it is easy to feel lost in the face of changing circumstances. But when we are surrounded by people who know us deeply, we feel a sense of stability, no matter what external changes may come. These relationships act as an anchor, a reminder of who we are and what truly matters. Even when life feels chaotic, we find comfort in knowing that there are people who stand with us, providing strength and guidance in moments of doubt or struggle. They remind us of our resilience and help us to regain our footing when we lose our way. Authentic connections also inspire us to give back, as they bring out our most compassionate and generous selves. When we are part of meaningful relationships, we naturally wish to support those who have supported us, creating a circle of care that goes beyond any single person. We become invested in each other's well-being and growth, celebrating achievements and offering comfort in times of sorrow. This reciprocity transforms relationships into partnerships in life's journey, where each person's happiness and fulfillment contribute to the joy of the whole. Cultivating authentic connections requires intentional effort. It means seeking out those who share our values and who respect our individuality. It involves making time for those who matter, listening deeply, and offering our presence without distractions. Authentic connections are not built on convenience but on commitment, showing up for each other not only when it's easy but also in moments of difficulty. In these moments, we deepen our bonds, creating memories and shared experiences that become the foundation of our relationship. In surrounding ourselves with authentic connections, we create a support system that extends beyond mere companionship. These relationships nurture our spirit, providing the encouragement and wisdom we need to navigate life's challenges. They remind us that we are not alone, that we have people who genuinely care for us and who celebrate our journey. By choosing to invest in meaningful connections, we enrich our lives with a depth of love, trust, and understanding that cannot be found in shallow interactions. These connections become our true wealth, a source of joy and resilience that sustains us through all seasons of life. Authentic connections remind us of the beauty of shared human experience. They show us that we are interconnected, each of us bringing something unique to the collective whole. Through these bonds, we find purpose and fulfillment, knowing that our lives are enriched not by the quantity of our connections, but by their quality. By choosing to nurture relationships based on authenticity, we invite into our lives the profound satisfaction of being seen, known, and loved for exactly who we are. In the end, surrounding ourselves with authentic connections offers us a profound source of strength, comfort, and purpose. These relationships remind us that we are not isolated beings, but part of a shared human experience that thrives on trust, acceptance, and mutual support. Through authentic connections, we gain a safe space to be vulnerable, to grow, and to see our true selves reflected back with honesty and compassion. Such relationships anchor us in times of uncertainty, inspire us to be our best selves, and enrich our lives with meaning. By choosing to invest in these genuine bonds, we create a foundation of love, resilience, and inner peace that sustains us through all the joys and challenges of life. In a world that often values quantity over quality, authentic connections stand as a testament to the depth and fulfillment that only true relationships can bring.